The Monte Cristo Homestead is located in the New South Wales area of Australia. At first glance, the story about the house is one of success, good fortune, and happy people. However, looks can be deceiving. The Monte Cristo Homestead is reputed to be Australia's most haunted house. The history of the homestead began with Christopher William Crawley, a farmer who bought 2 parcels of land in the town Junee to build his family home. The first few years were a struggle for Christopher and his family. They lived in a slab hut and Christopher had trouble feeding his family. But his fortunes changed in 1878, when the Great Southern Railway line opened. He scraped all the money he could find together and bought a license to build the railway hotel right opposite to the soon-to-be-opened railway station. A very smart move for Christopher. The village of Junee only consisted of his hotel, the adjoining railway store and some scattered slab huts. The entire small town benefited enormously from the travellers and agricultural trade. Crawley became very wealthy. He was much loved for he was a generous man with a big sense of civic responsibility. Prior to the construction of the new homestead in 1885, the Crawley family lived in a small brick cottage. The original slab hut was demolished and turned into a big stable for his prized horses. The small brick cottage, also referred to as the original homestead, still exists. That house was turned into the servants' quarters. The new home, a 2-story house built in the late Victorian style, became an ultimate status symbol, and because it was built on a hill, it overlooked the entire town. Christopher Crawley died in the homestead in December of 1910, from a combination of heart failure and blood poisoning. The latter was caused by a carbuncle on his neck. It got infected from rubbing against his starched collar. His wife, Elizabeth Crawley, couldn't cope with her husband's death. She locked herself inside the house. She spent most of her time up in the attic where she had built a small chapel. In her remaining 23 years she only left her house twice. She died at the house at the age of 92, in August of 1933, due to a ruptured appendix. The last member of the Crawley family left the house in 1948, and the house would remain empty for more than a decade. There were several caretakers at the house, trying to keep an eye on things, but unfortunately, they couldn't prevent the place from being vandalized. All the original furnishings were taken out of the house and sold. The house remained in a poor state until the Monte Cristo Homestead was bought by Reginald and Olive Ryan in 1963. The Ryans restored the homestead back to its original state. They turned it into a museum for tours, including a doll museum and antique store. When the Ryans moved into the homestead, they immediately noticed something strange was going on. When they went up to the house with their belongings, including their cat and dog, they noticed the animals didn't want to go into the house. In fact, they both ran away from it. And later, when they had an evening out, they noticed all the lights were on when they approached the house, but all the lights were off when they opened the front door. Christopher Crawley's ghost is believed to haunt the room in which he died. His spirit is as kind as ever. But his wife, on the other hand, has not changed much after death. She still rules the house with an iron fist, judging everyone who dares to enter her house. If she doesn't like you, she'll try to scare you out with ice-cold air falling on your skin. According to legend, Christopher Crawley got 2 of his maids pregnant. One of them committed suicide by jumping to her death from the balcony after finding out she was pregnant. She hit the stairs and was instantly killed. Her ghost still haunts the veranda, and a ghostly bloodstain marks the spot where she met her end. The second pregnant maid gave birth to a son. She named him Harold. When Harold was a young boy, he was involved in a terrible accident on the premises. Harold was hit by a coach. The child survived the accident, but sustained head trauma which disabled him for life. The poor boy was kept in chains in the coach room. Local children would mock him because he would scream all day. They called him a monster, and the children of Junee challenged each other to harass and tease him. He was eventually sent away to an asylum after he was found by the authorities, chained to his mother's bed. He died at the asylum, but still haunts the grounds of the homestead. He makes his presence known by the sound of chains. The coach house is haunted by a young stable boy named Morris. One day he was feeling ill and decided to stay in bed at the coach house. His master did not approve the fact that the boy decided to sleep in, so he decided to teach him a lesson. He set the boy's straw mattress on fire, thinking he would jump up and get to work. But Morris was too sick, and he could not get up. He died in his bed. People have said to hear his screams to this day. Crawley's infant granddaughter Ethel died in 1917, because the nursemaid dropped her on the stairs. She claimed she was pushed by an unseen force, but no one believed her. Today, children who visit the museum become irritable and upset when they enter the stairs. Some guests say they feel as if they are being pushed on their backs. Some claim to feel an ice-cold tiny hand slip into theirs when they go to the upstairs rooms. Another ghost is that of Jack Simpson. He was one of the home's caretakers and he was shot to death in 1960 on the porch in front of the house by a young man. This man had been watching Alfred Hitchcock's movie, Psycho, 3 times before committing his crime. The words, "Die Jack, ha ha," were carved into the shed door, where they can still be seen today. Paranormal activity reported by visitors to the homestead include lights that turn on and off, feelings of nausea, overwhelming sadness, and some people even faint during tours. People have reported disembodied whispers and unexplained mists at the house. Orbs are seen all over and there is poltergeist activity as well. The house has been featured on several paranormal television shows. It has been featured in Scream Test, Ghost Hunters International and My Ghost Story. The Monte Cristo Homestead is open to visitors from Friday to Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Every Saturday evening, at 6 p.m., there's a ghost tour. Brave souls can even spend the night here.